Hey TechKnowStuds! This is what we call magnetic media, or more specifically, this is a tape backup out of a tape backup system. And this would go into a cassette, but this tape would be pulled out and then we'd write ones and zeros onto this magnetic film right here. And so then we could go back and read it, and we would use this for a backup system. Well, this film right here, this tape right here, is called media. Media is where we actually store the ones and zeros onto it. So in this lesson, let's cover what media looks like from a storage perspective. I like to think of media as the backbone or the basis for everything else when it comes to storing data. That is, how we store data onto these different devices is critical on how it operates and how it interfaces and the rest of what we have, what we see right here. So let's get further in depth into media and what the different types of media are. Now the thing is that anything that we can capture data into could be our media. So if I write something into sand, then the sand is the media. If I etch something into crystal, then that crystal is the media. There are a lot of different ways we could actually store data when it comes to media. But there are a few main ones that we use when it comes to computers. And you could categorize them as paper, optical, magnetic, and solid state. One of the earliest medias that we used, and we actually used it for a long time, were punch cards. Punch cards were on paper. And so we had these papers that would have these different punches. We would punch out the code onto here. And then it would get fed into the computer and read and then processed. So that's how we did some initial coding, were with these punch cards. Here are some different media and devices that we can store data on. At the bottom here, we have our magnetic storage. In the middle, we have our solid state, and at the top, we have our optical drive. So as far as magnetic is concerned, here is just a hard disk drive, or HDD. Right here, we have an old floppy disk, and I've opened it up so that way we can see the inside, and then this would spin, and you'd have the data stored on it with magnetic signals. We have a tape drive from tape backup, and so this would unwind, and then you would store the data onto that, and then it would wind back up. So this would be inside of a cassette that we would have inside of a backup storage device. And then the first computer I used actually had cassette tapes that you would store like an audio cassette tape, and you would store data on it. So yeah, so that's some of the magnetic, not used nearly as much as it used to, but there's still definitely, we still use like tape backup, and we use magnetic hard disk drives, not so much the cassettes or the floppy disks here anymore. In the middle here, we have solid state drives. So this is just what we usually call a solid state drive right here. And then we have our SATA. This is inside of a flash. You can see that they're all kind of chips. This is inside of what this would look like, and we've got those chips that we store data. And then optical, we have these little divots on here that can be read by a laser. So we'd pop that into this tray, and then this is a laser that goes back and forth and would read the data off of this CD-ROM here.